Peace, my sister. Sister Alice. So check this out. I wanted to answer your questions, right? Um, it was just so much I could say. Gosh. Um, but like I was telling you, so just so you know, like this wasn't personal with you. I have this, I say these same things to my parents, to my aunts and my uncles who are preachers and everything, and to any other believers, right? Um, like I was telling you, I've been a preacher's kid all my life. All my life I've been a preacher's kid. And to this day, my parents are preachers. My mom's an elder, my dad's a bishop, as I was telling you. Now, this is the thing. We've been we've been programmed to just believe things. We've been programmed to just believe things without questioning things, right? All our lives, this was passed down to us. This religion stuff was passed down to us. We got it from our grandmamas or mamas or, passed down, passed down, passed down. We were taught this stuff young as kids, most of us, right? Because many of us were taught before we could even really talk good. We were taught, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Or, God is great. God is good. Let us think. You get what I'm saying? So we were taught this stuff young, right? Many of us grew up in the church. So we were being indoctrinated with this stuff young, right? So many of us grew up into adults just following the tradition. Just following the tradition of being a Christian, right? It's so many places. It's so many places I can start. Um, it's so many places I could start. One of the things I do when I talk to believers is I ask them this. Why do you believe with no evidence? You don't go through everyday life just believing things with no evidence. So why do you do it with this book? Why do you do it with religion? Why do you do it with God or whatever, right? Gosh, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to start at. Um, you believe this book. You believe this God. And you've never seen a God. You've never seen a God. Okay, so let me go through your response, right? You said, I'm not trying to persuade you to believe because that's something you have to want to do on your do all on your own. You said, I can't help but wonder why people like you hate God so much and always talking ugly about him. And I never heard not one cruel word about the devil. Let's stop there. Let's break this down. Let's break this down. This is what I'm talking about when I say we just believe things with no evidence, right? You said, I can't help but wonder why people like you hate God so much and always talk ugly about him. First of all, let's stop there. You call God a him. Why do you call God a him? Why? Why do you refer to God as a him? You want to know why you refer to God as a him? Because you were taught, because that book told you to refer to this God as a him. Tell me this. Have you ever verified that God is a him, is a he? Who has ever verified this? I'm asking this because I'm trying to prove a point that we believe things with no evidence. And with no evidence, why do we believe it? with no evidence, without being able to verify it, why do we believe it, right? So that's a small thing right there, right? Just the gender, right? But as small as it may seem, it's very big because it tells how we think, how easily we'll believe things without verifying it. So if you'll believe something that simple without verifying it, what else will you believe when it comes to this religion stuff, right? When it comes to this God and when it comes to any of these religions, right? So that's one thing. Nobody has ever verified God to be a he, but you refer to this God as a he. Why do you believe God would limit it? Why do you believe a God would limit itself to being a he or a she? How do you know God is not a them, a they? You get what I'm saying? Like, this is just something small. This is just a startup. It's something small, right? We're believing things because somebody told us to believe this. Nobody has ever verified a God to be a he. You get what I'm saying? You said, we talk bad about him. So let me explain this. Let me explain why I talk bad about this God, right? And I'm going to assume we're talking about the God of this Bible. This is just like I told my dad, who's a bishop. Daddy, it ain't no way I can follow this religion. It's no way I could follow this God. It's too many flaws with this God. This God ain't right. This God is sick in the head. Yeah, I told my dad this. When you read that Bible, the stuff the preacher don't preach about, this God of that Bible is a mess. He's terrible. He's evil. The God of that Bible is very evil. Also, like I was asking you, this guy got too many flaws. This God picks and chooses. This guy picks and chooses who he wants to help and who he wants to ignore. That's a problem. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's a problem. But you guys never look at that because you've been indoctrined with this religion stuff. These questions never bother y'all. How does this God pick and choose who he wants to help and who he wants to ignore? Because he definitely does it. We are in a pandemic right now. This is my issue. This God always seems to show up for people's personal, selfish prayers, right? But when you pray to this God for the world, for the whole world, this God never shows up. He's always a no call, no show. Why? But he'll show up for your personal prayer. Everybody will say, oh, God showed up for me when I prayed. He answered my prayer. But then when I say, okay, well, can you pray to this God now that he gets rid of this pandemic for the world? Can you pray for, since he's answering your prayer, can you pray for the whole world then? Why does he only answer your prayer? So now I have to ask, what makes you more important than the whole world? That this God would stop to answer your personal prayer, but he ignores the rest of the world. This God he plays favoritism. Why? Why does this God play favoritism? That's a problem. This God so-called heals all other these people. Say God's a healer. People say God does the impossible. All of this, right? But this God will never heal an amputee. Why? What does this God have against people who have lost their limbs? He never shows up to heal them. But people will tell you, oh, he healed my cancer. Oh, he healed this and he healed that. Stuff we can't see. Stuff we can't even verify. But this guy never shows up and does miracles that we can witness. But he always shows up for somebody in their personal prayer. Oh, this God, I prayed to God and God brought me a husband. Oh, God got me a wife, or God got me a job, or God got me this and God did that. But this guy never shows up. This is why I be angry with this guy. Because he plays favoritism. This guy, there was a national prayer day 3 weeks ago where believers like yourself, all over the nation prayed to get rid of this pandemic. Prayed to this God to get rid of this pandemic. This pandemic got worse after y'all prayed. Huh? This pandemic got worse. People are still dying right now. See, this is why I have an issue with this God. Because you tell me this God is with us all. You tell me this God is with all of us all the time. So that means this God is with us watching this happen. He's watching people dying and he's doing nothing. None of these guys of any of these religions, none of them, not just your God, but none of these religions, none of these guys are doing anything. This is why I have a problem with this God. I ask questions. Things don't add up to me from what y'all quote to me out these Bibles and what we're seeing in reality. In reality, this is my issue with these guys, right? So you guys got all these quotes, right? No weapon formed against me shall prosper, right? But y'all are walking around here with masks and gloves on. Y'all can't even go to church, right? Oh, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm covered in the blood. Huh? You're covered in it. What does that mean? What does covered in the blood mean if you're still walking around here in fear of catching a virus? What good is it to be covered in the blood? What is it protecting you from? Y'all can't even go to church. It don't add up to me. It don't add up to me. What else y'all say? Whether there are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, I'll be in the midst. You don't think 2 or 3 people have been praying already and praying for this world, and this world is still messed up? What is he in the midst doing? What is this God in the midst doing? He's obviously with you while you're praying. 2 or 3 of y'all are praying. He's in the midst, but what is he doing? He's in the midst doing what? Trust me, I get it. This stuff sounds great to say. It sounds so inspiring to say at the religious pep rally, is what I call it, church. Or when you're talking to people from the religious pep rally. You get what I'm saying? Where nobody challenges this stuff. They just go right along with it. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just answering your question. I'm just trying to get through to your questions, right? Like I said, I could talk to you for days about my issues with this God and these religions, and it don't add up, sister. I get it. We were kids. We grew up in the age of belief where you're just to believe this stuff. This is why religion is called a belief, right? This is why religion requires you to have faith. It's a belief. A belief is something or a statement that you accept to be true. It does not mean that it's true just because you accept it to be true. It just means you accept it to be true. And that's what religion is. What else do y'all say? What else is it you guys say? Whether there's 2 or 3 in the midst, you guys say you have this relationship with this God. You guys say you're blessed and you're highly favored with this God. These things don't add up. So now I have to ask, what does that mean? What are the benefits of these things? If you're still walking around here with a mask on in fear of catching a virus, you can't go to church. You get what I'm saying? You telling me this God is with us all? And you ask, why don't we blame the devil? God is the devil. God and the devil are the same person. If we're going to entertain, I don't believe in a God and I don't believe in a devil. But if I'm going to entertain your religion, they are the same person. God and the devil are the same people. Ask yourself this. Why won't God just kill the devil? He can't kill the devil because that would be suicide. This is what I'm saying. The God of that Bible is a very evil God. But the preacher don't preach about all the evil stuff this God does in this Bible. No, I can't follow this. The God of this Bible allows slavery in that Bible. The God of this Bible allows cannibalism in that Bible. The God of this Bible allows rape, child abuse. What else does he allow? Incest. What else? The God of this Bible is even a deceiver. Yes, he's even a deceiver. Remember when he sent the lion spirit down there to what's the guy? I forgot his name. But the spirit came to God and told him, hey, listen, I'll go down there and be a lion spirit on their tongues or whatever. Well, and God okayed that. The same God that tells you not to lie okayed the lion spirit. So they'll try to say, but he did it he used the lion spirit in a good way. So there's a good lie? Huh? There's a good lie? The point is, you deceived the people with a lying spirit. Whether you did it for a good cause or not, you still deceived the people. You still sent a lying spirit, God. These are my issues with this guy. We're just scratching the surface, sister. We're just scratching the surface. When you read that Bible, this God of this Bible is the devil. When you read this Bible, do you realize the devil don't really do nothing in this Bible? It's God doing everything. It's the God of this Bible who does all the killing, or orders all the killing, or orders the rape, or taking people's wives and giving them to other people. And the same book that tells you that God hates everything evil also tells you to love your enemy. So just think about this. The devil would be your enemy as a believer. And I ask you believers all the time, do you love the devil? You will say no. And I'll say, why? Why don't you? Because according to your book, the Bible tells you to love your enemy. The devil is your enemy. The Bible even refers to the devil as God's enemy or Jesus' enemy. It even refers to him as the enemy. The Bible does not say, love thy enemy. Except the devil. Because he's except him. It doesn't say that. It just says, love thy enemy. The same book that tells you to honor thy mother and thy father also tells you that you cannot be a disciple of Jesus unless you hate your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your children, yes, even your own self. No, sister, no. But we were taught to believe this stuff. This is another reason, sister. This is another reason. I will, and you know, if you ever want to talk to me, we can actually verbally talk. You remind me. I'm just looking at your picture and everything. You kind of remind me of my mom. You remind me. You just just reading your comment and everything. You remind me of my mom. And I gotta say, my mama, ain't nothing happening with my mama. My mama gonna go to her grave with her Jesus. She love her Jesus. She don't care. Nothing I tell her, nothing I bring to the table. But one thing I gotta say is, I'm so happy, at least when I leave this earth, or when my dad leave this earth, I will know that I did get through to my dad somewhat. My dad at least understands my position. He understands where I'm at and why I can't follow these religions, why I can't follow this God, why I do not believe in the existence of a God. So, and he agrees with me on a lot of things. I had to bring a lot of things to the table to my dad. Trust me, he fought. We're on YouTube. We got YouTube videos where we done been on platforms and everything, and we fought. He fighting for it. But somewhere I kind of got through to him. I kind of made some sense to him. I said, Dad, why do we believe this stuff? Dad, why do you believe this book is the word of a God? Why do you believe? How do you verify that this is the inspired word of a God? Dad, believers, how do y'all prove that? Why do y'all believe that with no evidence? Nobody can prove, nobody can verify that a God ever said anything to anybody to write in this book. You have to make this make sense to a person like me, right? No God, just all of this out here. Let's say God created all of this in the universe, right? All of this. That would be one intelligent, beyond intelligent mind, right? That would be beyond one intelligent mind. Beyond anything we could explain, right? So you mean to tell me this beyond intelligent mind would give you a book of his word? A book? A book? A book? You think a God of that much intelligence would give you a book? I mean, a book that people can tamper with, people can change and interpret how they want to interpret. A book that people can use to manipulate the masses. A book that has a bunch of contradictions in it for this God to be perfect. Do you think a God would give a book? Let somebody write a book of his words with all of these contradictions in it, all of these mistakes in this book? This God is perfect, right? This God is all-knowing, right? So this God would know this book has a lot of mistakes, right? This God would know this. No God who is perfect would allow this imperfect book to come out. No God. You don't think this God would see that people would be tampering with his book, with his word? That's for the world. See, I would think a God that smart would figure out a way to give us his word where it could never be tampered with, where we would never have to interpret it any kind of way. we would understand what his word is. Every person on this earth would have his word. Do you know every person on this earth doesn't have his word? Sister, there's over 4,200 different religions on this planet that is practiced. Do you know every religion that's practiced on this planet? Of course you don't. So now you gotta look at yourself as on the other side. The same way you don't know all of these religions, they don't know your religion. It's people who've never heard of a Jesus Christ. Ever. But this is the word of God that everybody's supposed to have. It doesn't make sense. This God gave us a limited edition book. A limited edition? Do you know how many times this book has been rewrote and tampered with? And a God would, I can't believe a God would allow this. So my position, I know I'm going on. I know I'm almost 30 minutes in, but I just kind of wanted to just get you to understand where I'm at, right? For one, I ask people, why do you believe with no evidence to believe any of this? Any of this that y'all say, any of this that y'all read out this book. Why? Why do you believe it? You don't go through everyday life just believing things because somebody told you to believe it. You look for evidence usually. Why do you just believe this book with no evidence? That baffles me. So where I stand at is, I have a problem with religion because it stops our children because it's fed to our youth. And it stops our children from critically thinking, from using reason, from using common sense and logic. Yes, that's what religion does. It stops our kids from being able to separate fact from fairy tale. The way they teach us in this book, they teach us like it's all fact. Like a donkey really talked. Like a burning bush really talked. Like a man really walked on water. Like a whale really swallowed a human whole and spit him out after 3 days like nothing ever happened. Like a man put a stick in some water and split a whole sea like it really happened. When was the last time you seen a magical virgin birth? Like, that's my issue. Like, now, when it comes to this God, I look at reality. I look at reality and I look at this belief that we were taught to believe. It don't add up. This religion, this God, this belief does not add up to what's happening in reality. This God does not show up for the world, sister. But everybody says they had a personal experience with this God. But then when you ask them, and you have to understand your personal experience does not prove the existence of a God. So that's my position, sister. My position on God is, I'm not saying there is no God, but I have no reason to believe that there is. Right? So my position is this. I do not believe in the existence of a God due to lack of evidence of a God's existence. That's not me saying I do not believe. That is not me saying there is no God. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is I do not believe in the existence of a God due to lack of evidence of a God's existence. What I'm saying is this. Although I do not believe in the existence of a God. If you can prove to me that a God exists, I can be convinced. No human has ever been acknowledged for proving the existence of any God. Any gods. No God of any religions have ever shown their face to anyone. Again, you have to ask yourself, if you're going to tell me, right, that this God showed up for you personally, that would mean you're telling the rest of us that you are more important to this God than the rest of the world. Anytime this God will show up for you, right? But he will ignore the rest of the world going through turmoil. But you tell us that this God is with us all. You tell us this God is with us all. He's with us. So which means when we're going through our troubles and stuff, he's right there watching. When I got shot, he was right there when I got shot. When that 6-year-old little girl got raped in the church bathroom by a grown man in Raleigh, North Carolina, you're telling me this God was with that little girl while she was being raped in the church bathroom by a grown man, and he did nothing to stop it? A 13-year-old girl got raped in the church bathroom at a funeral. You mean to tell me this God was with her while this man was raping her, and he let this man rape her? I don't get it. I don't get this God. When those people in Charleston, South Carolina was on their knees praying to this God, you mean to tell me this God was with all of those people when that white boy walked in that church and shot them up? Huh? It doesn't make sense to me. When that man was standing in the pulpit, he just started praying, and that man walked into Creflo Dollar's church and shot that man in the chest while he was praying. And God didn't stop none of that. Those 2 cathedrals that got bombed with all of those people in there praying to God. We could see the bomber walking to the church on the news. God didn't see the bomber walk into the church. He let those 2 churches be bombed. This is my issue with this God. How long are we going to make excuses for this God?